I almost dropped my coffee when I saw my water bill for $112. For 1 month. I live alone. No garden. No kids. No leaky pipes. I barely even shower daily since I work from home. The last time I saw a bill that high, I had left the hose running for 3 days straight watering a dying hibiscus that didn't even survive. So I thought maybe it was a clerical error. Maybe the meter was broken. Maybe I was losing it. But then the next month rolled around and it was even higher. And that's when I heard it. Every morning, around 6, there'd be this deep, low gurgling sound. Not from the kitchen, not from the bathroom, but from underneath the concrete of my driveway. At first, I thought it was just pipes settling or my brain playing tricks on me before caffeine kicked in. Until one morning, I walked outside barefoot, coffee in hand, and followed the sound to the side fence. And what I saw there changed everything. A faint trail of decorative rocks, freshly laid, running straight from my property line to my neighbor's backyard. And on the other side, a brand new in-ground pool, blue as a magazine ad, surrounded by floaties, plastic flamingos, and of course me neighbor Vanessa, reclining on a red pool chair like she was royalty, sipping what I'm guessing was her third mimosa. And when she saw me staring, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Well, if you didn't want to share, you should have bought a house somewhere more exclusive." That was the moment I realized she had tapped into my private water line. Now, let me give you some context on Vanessa. She moved into the neighborhood a year ago as a renter. Loud, flashy, obsessed with appearances. Always the first to host community mixers and HOA brunches that somehow involve professional DJs and champagne towers. She had this way of talking down to people, especially homeowners like me, despite the fact that she herself didn't own a square inch of property. But what she did have was charm, the kind that gets people like the HOA president wrapped around her acrylic-tipped fingers. So when I first heard the construction noises a few weeks before the pool showed up, saws, drills, the beep-beep of reversing trucks, I asked her what she was working on. She smirked and said, "Nothing renters need to worry about," which was rich, considering I own my house. But I didn't push. I didn't want to start a war over noise. That was my first mistake. The second was not checking my water meter sooner. That evening, after the mimosa comment, I turned off every faucet in my house, waited, then checked the meter. It was still spinning like a roulette wheel. I even turned off the main valve and it kept going. That's when I called Joey. Joey and I go way back. We were college roommates. He's now a certified plumber and a tech nerd with a bad habit of over-engineering simple solutions. He showed up the next morning with his scanner, his inspection camera, and a look on his face like he already knew I was right. Within 30 minutes, he found the pipe junction, right there in my side yard. A trench, carefully dug and filled in with stones, led to a junction point where my water line had been tapped. And not with some garden hose and duct tape. No, this was a professional job. Industrial-grade sealant, pressure control valve, even a buried boost pump on her side. She was not just stealing water, she was controlling how much she took. I confronted her the next morning. She was out front pretending to garden, probably just posing for her followers. When I walked up, showed her the video evidence, and said, "Vanessa, I know. You're stealing my water." She didn't even blink. Just looked up over her sunglasses, took a long sip of lemon water, and said, "You should be honored. Not everyone gets to host luxury plumbing." And then she turned around and walked inside. I took all the footage, the readings, the scans, everything to the HOA. President Monica barely looked up from her magazine. "Sounds like a neighborly misunderstanding," she said. "Maybe Vanessa will offer you a bottle of leftover wine." When I demanded action, she told me there was no formal complaint process for water disputes and implied I might have agreed to the setup and was now having regrets. I left furious and came home to an HOA citation taped to my door, $100 per day for unauthorized construction activity. She had filed a complaint against me. That's when I knew this wasn't just a neighbor problem. It was a coordinated power move. Vanessa had the HOA in her back pocket, and she was getting away with theft, arrogance, and no gaslighting. The final straw came when I found a permit request in my mailbox. A forged signature. My name. Vanessa had filed plans to extend her pool deck onto my property. She was literally building on my foundation and pretending I'd agreed. I didn't sleep that night. My mind spun with rage, disbelief, and then resolve. I designed infrastructure for a living, emergency reroutes, pressure systems, city grids. If Vanessa wanted a war over water, she picked the wrong house. Because I wasn't just going to stop her, I was going to make her regret every smug sip of those mimosas. I explained my plan to Joey the next morning. He thought I was joking. "You want to reroute it into her pool?" he asked, half laughing. I said, "Not sewage, but enough to make a statement. You see, years ago, the city had decommissioned an old septic bypass system on our block. They capped it, but never fully dismantled it. And one of those lines ran right beneath our yards. All it took was tapping into the control valve, installing a pressure regulator, and setting a timed flow. Not toxic, not dangerous, just filthy enough to be undeniable." Over the next 10 days, while Vanessa planned her massive HOA pool bash complete with food trucks, live music, and an appearance from a local city councilman, Joey and I worked at night, carefully digging, laying pipes, sealing joints. We even mounted a camera in my attic window to capture the whole thing. And when we tested the system, 3-second response time. Beautiful. The morning of the party, Joey showed up dressed as a delivery guy, dropped off a fake cooler, and settled in my garage to monitor the feed. I mowed my lawn mostly to stay close and play it cool. From time to time, I'd glance over the fence and catch glimpses of the circus, people arriving in cocktail dresses and pool floats, HOA board members clinking glasses, Vanessa in a white sun hat giving orders like a wedding planner. At 12:30, Vanessa grabbed a mic and made a speech something about community and the power of shared spaces. I almost choked. Then she invited everyone into the pool, and the music kicked up. That was our cue. I looked at Joey and said, "Let it flow." He pressed the button. 3 seconds later, the water supply rerouted. Not raw sewage, but leftover greywater, residue from that old bypass line. It crept in slow, murky, and foul-smelling. At first, nobody noticed. Then a kid pointed at the floating donut. "Why is the water brown?" A mom screamed. Someone slipped. The smell hit thick, swampy, undeniable. One woman vomited in a planter. Another tripped trying to climb out. The DJ stopped mid-beat. Vanessa, still holding her glass, looked around in confusion then rage. And that's when the health inspector showed up. Anonymous tip. Perfect timing. Clipboard in hand, mask on face. "We've had reports of contamination," he said. "This event is shut down." Vanessa panicked. She shouted, pointed at me over the fence. "He did this. He's jealous." I raised my soda can, gave a little wave. The inspector smirked. Within hours, footage of the meltdown was everywhere: social media, news, even TikTok. Titles like "Luxury Pool Turns Toxic" and "HOA Queen Gets Flushed." One angle showed Vanessa slipping on the pool steps, her son hat floating like a lost ship. By the next morning, HOA President Monica had resigned. Vanessa was stripped of all HOA privileges. A formal apology letter was taped to my door. The citation against me? Voided. The city launched an investigation into illegal water rerouting, and Vanessa's pool was drained, treated, and sealed off with caution tape. Vanessa tried to play the victim, posted on the neighborhood app claiming she was targeted by jealous, small minds. The replies? Brutal. Someone posted a meme. Achievement unlocked. Queen of the Septic Kingdom. She deleted her post and deactivated her account. A week later, a moving truck showed up. She left. No goodbye. Just disappeared, along with her stolen water and fake charm. Today, the neighborhood feels different. Lighter. People wave again. Dogs bark a little less. Kids ride their bikes without getting scolded about sidewalk chalk. And every so often, someone new walks by my yard and whispers, "Is this where the pool thing happened?" I smile, nod, and go back to trimming my hedges. You see, I never got reimbursed for that $800 in water bills. But I got something better. Peace, dignity, and a t-shirt Joey made that says, "Flow naturally." Sometimes, all it takes to fix a system is the right amount of pressure. Now let me ask you this: what would you have done? Was I wrong to fight back that way? Was poetic justice enough, or too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear every single take. Because in neighborhoods like this, justice isn't just legal, it's personal. And sometimes it flows better with a little bit of brown.